Fiocchi Defense Dynamics and 38 Special versus 9mm. And what I plan to do is test these in various different barrel lengths. What I want to do is test the Defense Dynamics 38 Special 125 grain rated at 1,000 feet per second through a 4-inch barrel, then my 3-inch barrel, then my 2-inch barrel. And our 9mm is a 124 grain, it's rated at 1,100 feet per second. I want to test it through my 5-inch barrel, my 4-inch barrel, and then my 3-inch barrel. So what I'm going to do today is test it through the longest barrels to make sure the stuff performs in longer barrels. And if it doesn't perform in these barrels, well, then I'm going to not move on to testing it in shorter barrels. But today what we're going to do is full-size gun, 4-inch revolver versus a 5-inch semi-auto. My Smith & Wesson here. My Smith & Wesson 686, 4/8-inch barrel. My Smith & Wesson M&P 9 2.0, 5-inch barrel. So 124 grain 9mm versus 125 grain 38 Special. Both are standard pressure. However, Fiocchi was originally a foreign manufacturer. They have different specs for what pressures are under CIP, and 9mm is something like 34,000 and something, and our 38 Special I believe is like 21,700. So it can actually be hotter than a SAMI spec 38 Special Plus P, even though it's standard pressure. So we'll figure out what we get here today with our longer barrel. So I'm going to go through the current graph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy I get at the same time. Then I'm going to do my 10% clear ballistic test. I'm just going to go into plain clear ballistics to see what the best potential is of those cartridges, and then after that I'm going to do more of a real world simulation. 4 layers of denim on the first 3-inch piece here that represents our pectoral muscle. After that I'll have a 1/4-inch medium density fiberboard that represents hitting ribs or sternum. That'll be more of our real world simulation. And then I am going to shoot up my steel to see what kind of practical accuracy and shootability I can get. So let's get started with this test. All right, first up we have our 9mm rated at 1,100 feet per second through my 5-inch barrel. I have no idea what barrel length they got that velocity from, but let's see what I get here in my 5-inch barrel. 1123, 1124, 1125, 1114, 1095. Last one's a little inconsistent, but overall not too bad. I would suspect that it's probably a little under 1,100 in a 4-inch barrel. So 38 Special 4-inch is generally the industry standard, rated at 1,000 feet per second. Let's see what we get here. 1004, 971, 973, 985, 986. So a little bit below rate of velocity, relatively consistent though. So let's hit our ballistics gel block, see what we get with these. All right, let's do our best potential here. 9mm plain clear ballistics. All right, let's hit that with our 38 Special now. We'll take a look. All right, it looks like both of them did pretty well. Looks like we have expansion right away. We see a lot of cutting in the tracks there right away. 9mm, we're right at 18 inches. And it looks like we have expansion. It's hard to see the expansion with the 38. It looks from this angle like maybe there's more, but it's hard to know. But what we got here is about 15 3/4. So I'd say overall that's pretty ideal for both of them. Let's put on our fabric and our MDF, see how they compare that way. 4 layers of denim, a 1/4-inch medium density fiberboard, 9mm. All right, let's hit that with our 38 Special now. We'll take a look. All right, so this is what separates some of the economy ammo from some of the stuff like HST and Gold Dot, from what I can see here. Looks like the denim itself impeded that expansion because we have none going through our MDF. And what we have here, our 9mm is definitely over penetration, not extreme over penetration, but a little bit over, about 21.5 inches of penetration. what we have for our 38 special. And looks like we have tumbling with both of them right about this mark here, right about the 7, 8, 9, 10 inch mark. 38 special, our total path went to 15 3/4 and it sucked back just a little bit. So I would say, honestly, based on this, if you're gonna get that lack of expansion anyway, I would say the 38 did a little bit better here. So interesting to see this. Let me shoot my steel, see what kind of practical accuracy and shootability I can get with these. All right, here's a bullet close-up. Not very impressive. I mean, our 9mm here with our plain gel expanded, and so did our 38 special. They look like different bullet designs for sure. I would say our 38 special looks a little better, in my opinion. But when we go through our medium density fiberboard and our denim, this is what we got here. Now this is somewhat typical for a 38 special. You know, when you get about 1,000 feet per second, a little less, you're kind of on that threshold. Maybe it'll expand through denim, maybe it won't. And it looks like we just did not have enough here to expand through our denim. Now this is not typical at all. A 9mm that doesn't expand through denim, you know, it should have, but it was moving very slow. And you might have noticed I've tested this particular ammo in the 9mm about a year ago through my 4-inch barrel, and we got expansion, but I was taking a close-up look at those bullets of the old box. I still had some left. They're a completely different bullet than what is used now. So interesting performance here. So, you know, I'm not sure if I'm going to move on to the shorter barrels, considering we got pretty subpar performance, you know, with these through as long a barrels as I have. So that's a close-up look at those bullets. All right, I'm 40 yards from the target. Reason why is, you know, I just think these are probably loaded more for accuracy than what they are for terminal ballistics. A lot of times when I see rounds that don't expand, they generally shoot pretty good. So let's see how I get here 40 yards with our 9mm. Yeah, that's what I was seeing on paper. It seems like they're relatively tight groups. 38 plus P, or standard pressure I should say. I'm used to saying plus P. Alright, maybe not as accurate as a 9mm, but relatively accurate. So get a few more of these rounds. Let me back up to 75, see how they keep shooting for me. Alright, 75 yards. I'm just having fun at this point, so see how our 9mm does. This is budget ammo, you know, not much more than target ammo for price. Alright, seems pretty good for accuracy. I don't know what else I can expect from 75 yards. That's 225 feet. Not bad. Let's see how our 38 does. All right, so I did not see much consistency at distance with this. I thought for sure it was going to shoot really well, but it did look like the groups were opening up a little bit more, even at 40 yards than the 9mm. And some people will say, well, that's you shooting double action. But no, I shoot double action better than I shoot single action, because it tenses up my my grip, and I just, you know, shoot pretty well. So what I'm going to say here is it's not horrible ammo. If I had a full-size gun here, 9mm or 38, well, first thought is I could definitely do a lot better for terminal ballistics. I don't know if I would settle on this. However, if you had, let's say you bought this stuff in bulk and you had 1,000 rounds of each of these, I think that's pretty good, because you could practice with the very ammo that you're going to carry, and what we saw in terminal performance wasn't horrible. we didn't get much expansion through our quote-unquote real world simulation. However, what we saw, at least with the 38, is we did not get over penetration. The 9mm, we didn't get too much over penetration. That hollow point acts a little bit in slowing that bullet down, even though it didn't expand, so we don't get over penetration, and the hollow point does make it more accurate at distance. So I'd say in that situation, these are fine. However, if I was just going for like a 150 round box of either of these, and these are like $30 a box, I'm not gonna buy these. I'm gonna go over to one of those discount websites where you can get 50 rounds of Federal HST or 50 rounds of Gold Dot for $35, and those are gonna do a lot better, especially if with the 9mm. So interesting ammunition, not the best performance, but not the worst either. So that's what you get today. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.